Yo, welcome back to the Blurredcast. If you read the title, you know this is the review for What If Episode 2, titled What If T'Challa Became a Star-Lord? um, this is a dope episode. I mean, I know y'all seen it or whatever. My opinion, it was dope. Let me just play the intro music, so we can give people time who haven't seen it to get out. I don't know why you haven't seen it yet, but it's still time to exit, and then we'll get into it. All right, so people who haven't seen it or don't want no spoilers or whatever, they're out, supposedly. Let's get into this episode 2, right? As you know, we talked about this on the first review when we talked about What If Episode 1, which was Peggy Carter's story or Captain Carter's story. What If is doing this dope thing, where they're taking classic stories that we already, at least are familiar with, and they are putting their own spin on it, switching out characters and storylines and mashing up shit and all kind of stuff like that. It's pretty dope. Like I said in the first review, this is a ongoing series. Like the comic books have been doing this. It's just now being animated and brought to Disney Plus. I'm down for it. It's dope to me. So I decided to do a review of the entire series, which premieres weekly every Wednesday on Disney Plus. I think I forgot to mention that the first time, but that's beside the point. Episode 2, What If T'Challa Became a Star-Lord? This is basically a Marvel mashup of, T'Challa's storyline, Peter Quill, who is the actual Star-Lord, the white dude we always see, the Ravagers, and it takes some cool plot points from the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. So we are already starting off knowing we're going to be in space because that's where Guardians of the Galaxy and all that shit takes place. Now, admittedly, right, I do have to say I'm not the most familiar with Star-Lord story or the whole Guardians of the Galaxy story for that matter. It's been, I don't know how many years since I've seen a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Infinity War was quite some time ago. And then Endgame has been, 2-3 years past now? I think Endgame came out in 2018. So, needless to say, I had to do a little research to do my review and just to get prepared for this actual episode, actual What If episode on Disney Plus, because I was like, damn, bro, I forgot everything pretty much about Star-Lord and the Guardian of the Galaxy. But that's okay though, because I like this shit enough to where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna learn some stuff and then I'm gonna get to cross-reference some stuff and then it'll be dope because then I'll know more. In doing that though, found out a whole bunch of cool details. It was easier for me to pick up on Easter eggs that I may have missed on initially watching the episode. So let's just run it down, right? We start the episode off with Star-Lord on planet Morag, stealing the Power Stone, which we know is one of the Infinity Stones that Thanos ends up using to snap away existence. He's successful in stealing the Power Stone, but before he can make his escape, Korath, who turns out to be a huge fan of Star-Lord, unlike in the regular lore, right? Because in the regular lore, he doesn't even know who Star-Lord is or respect him past old petty criminal. I think the first time they met and we seen them on screen, he was like, who? When Star-Lord tried to explain who he was. So in this alternate timeline, Korath not only knows who Star-Lord is, but he fanboying over him. It's pretty funny. That's one thing I like about Marvel. They don't skip out on the comedic aspect of this. Yes, this is, telling a story and it's superhero based or whatever, but they make sure that their characters have personality and comedic timing and stuff like that. And I really fuck with them for that. Korath tries to stop Star-Lord from stealing the Power Stone, and then it's revealed that T'Challa is actually our Star-Lord for this episode. Now, the difference, other than T'Challa being the Star-Lord, is that, well, one, this Star-Lord, it's something I noticed, has purple eyes instead of red. Like the Peter Quill white Star-Lord, he has red eyes on his like face mask, goggle or whatever. T'Challa has purple, obviously referencing the purple, I guess, hue or like color that Black Panther always has going on. Y'all know the purple. Another huge difference in this timeline from what we know of the Peter Quill Star-Lord storyline is that this Star-Lord, T'Challa, is actually like kind of like a good guy. Like they keep likening him to Robin Hood, where he's like stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. I think that's dope because, of course, if they're going to turn the black man into an intergalactic criminal, let's at least make him have a very, very noble cause and be respected amongst the galaxy and universe for doing great things other than petty crime. T'Challa escapes from Korath, who, like I said, is trying to stop him from stealing the Power Stone after they have like a brief, like little comical sparring match that ends with him taking Korath as a new recruit. He's confronted by more guards on Korath as he tries to make his escape, but T'Challa is rescued by Yondu, the blue dude who does the like whistling or whatever, and that little arrow just go around shooting up people and shit. Like, I don't know why, but I always found like Yondu and that little whistling arrow shit kind of dope. That's just me though. But the difference here in between, you know, T'Challa's Star-Lord storyline and Peter Quill's Star-Lord storyline is that apparently Yondu and T'Challa have a much better relationship than Peter Quill and Yondu have. They liken T'Challa and Yondu's relationship to like a father-son dynamic. So that's a big difference because in the regular Star-Lord storyline, like Yondu and Peter Quill Star-Lord, they don't really fuck with each other like that. But from here, we flash back to Wakanda on Earth, 1988, and T'Challa and his father, T'Chaka, having a little father-son bonding moment. T'Challa wants to get out of Wakanda and explore the world, and of course, T'Chaka is trying to talk him out of it because Earth humans are crazy. Colonizers, they have destroyed the planet and totally made the history of this planet, as far as humans are concerned, like a huge shit show. T'Chaka knows that. He's trying to advise T'Challa, like, just stay here. Like, we good. We don't need to worry about the outside world. Like, let's stay here. T'Challa is seen throwing around a spear on the Wakandan border. He ends up venturing outside of the border and gets abducted by a Ravager spacecraft looking for the son of cosmic villain Ego. So this spacecraft was supposed to be abducting Peter Quill. This is where the story starts to branch off. Supposed to be abducting Peter Quill, who is the son of cosmic villain Ego, but they end up picking up T'Challa instead. Through further dialogue in the scene or whatever, they cite the mix-up as all humans looking alike. They like, he got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a mouth, so he got to be the person you talking about. Yondu's like, no, he's not a little white boy with brown hair. He's a black kid with black hair. And the people who abducted him, they like, whatever. You got what you asked for, whatever. There was huge cosmic readings coming from the area, so that's why we picked up him. T'Challa explains, well, they probably got those cosmic readings because the vibranium meteorite that my country, Wakanda, sits on. T'Challa is an explorer at heart in this timeline, though, so he's not afraid of Yondu and his gang of imbeciles at all, and he's down to, like, travel space and just be a part of the Ravagers. That scene ends with us going 20 years into the future after T'Challa's abduction from Wakanda. Him and the other Ravagers are reminiscent on past victories. Yondu mentions the Skrulls, who I'm sure we'll see, you know, later in the MCU after after around Captain Marvel 2. Like she fought them in Captain Marvel 1. But he mentioned the scrolls, and I thought that was, interesting little tidbit because they're like the cosmic minor villains in the MCU. So most likely gonna see them some more in Phase 4 if he's mentioned them here. That's what I took away from it. Also, in this scene, Korath is questioning T'Challa on how he stopped Thanos, which I was like, oh snap, not the black man saving 50% of the whole goddamn universe. But yeah, apparently it was revealed that Thanos, after he entered this scene, like he's a part of the series, T'Challa actually talked him out of snapping half the universe out of existence, which we all know is not what happens in our timeline because the end game. Outside of that, though, we meet this timeline's Drax, who is still funny. He makes a little one-liner about taking a selfie with Star-Lord to send to his wife and kids. So apparently, because Thanos is not this crazy, mad titan, evil, genocide creating person or thing or whatever, like Drax is in a good space mentally and emotionally. His family is still alive, and he's working and enjoying life. We also meet Nebula, who again, due to Thanos and his good nature in this timeline, she is not like half or 90% cyborg at this point. She looks regular, just like she was intended to, except for the eye. Her eye is still robotic. Well, her left eye, I should say. That's revealed later in the episode, though, so I'm jumping ahead. Let's stay on course. T'Challa and Nebula are discussing their past. T'Challa wants Nebula to make amends with Thanos, and Nebula is questioning why he hasn't returned to Wakanda. It's revealed in this conversation that Yondu tried to take T'Challa back to Wakanda as a child. That is what T'Challa, thinks. And they found out it was destroyed due to some senseless war. And this is what initially motivates T'Challa to be like this Robin Hood figure amongst the galaxy. From here, we cut to Nebula proposing to the Ravagers that they should steal the embers of Genesis, which is basically some cosmic dust that has the power to revitalize the natural resources of entire planets through terraforming. We see more of T'Challa's do-gooder like Robin Hood personality here, because he's like, oh yeah, we could save millions of people and feed all these kind of planets by doing this, and everybody's on board because that's a good reason to steal something that's incredibly powerful and important. We also start to see this running joke taking form about Thanos and his plan to cause genocide throughout the entire galaxy. A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but at this point, like 2 people have referred to him as Captain Genocide or made some reference to his plan for a genocide. This is another comedic element from the Marvel team, and I'm fucking with it. They have to steal these embers from the collector of this timeline, though. Yondu is against the plan, but T'Challa talks him into it, and they get to going. The heist is underway. It's being narrated by Nebula and other Ravagers. They do that whole thing where I'm going to narrate the plan, or I'm going to say the plan as we in the room planning it, and there's going to be a bunch of cut scenes of us actually doing it as, the episode continues. Through this heist narration that's underway, we see Proxima Midnight of the Black Order, who is a legendary MCU character from this Guardians of the Galaxy timeline. Thanos and Korath are causing a distraction on one side of this facility. All members of the Black Order catch up to them and try to shut that shit down, while Nebula, Yondu, and T'Challa sneak him into the Collector's collection. T'Challa, he was stowed away inside the little box. Y'all seen it. And then they got him in to the collection room area thanks to the distraction provided by Thanos and Korath. Nebula and Yondu are meeting with the Collector, discussing business or whatever. This is where I noticed that Nebula's eye is still cyborg, because obviously asshole the Collector points it out, that Thanos still fucked you up even though you ain't fucked up. And this is where you start to realize that this is why she hasn't let things go with him, because look what he did to her eye, even though it don't look bad. In a surprise cameo, T'Challa, while searching the Collector's collection, comes across Howard the Duck, who is another low-key Marvel fan favorite. This time he's being voiced by Seth Green. I thought that was cool because Seth Green, he's pretty funny. And honestly, his voice fits the character. So maybe we'll see more of Howard the Duck voiced by Seth Green in later episodes of the series. T'Challa breaks Howard out of his Collector's collection imprisonment showcase box, or whatever the fuck these things are. He breaks him out so it can help him find the embers, but Proxima is incredibly perceptive, and she realizes, oh, these are the Ravengers. This is most likely a distraction. Lock this shit down. Don't let nobody get out. Alarms get the sounding, and T'Challa gets startled, so he runs off, leaving Howard the Duck at whatever bar he stopped to take a drink at, and he ends up in this little back room area where his vibranium necklace starts to react, and he realizes, oh damn, this is a Wakandan ship right here that I'm standing by. Of course, the vibranium necklace allows him to fully access the Wakandan ship. There we get a message from T'Challa's father, asking, if anybody's seen my son, please bring him home. And if T'Challa, if you are seeing this, you always have a home here whenever you're ready to come back. In the next scene, though, after a quick little double cross from Nebula, we learn that Yondu actually lied to T'Challa about Wakanda being destroyed. And of course, T'Challa is pissed about that. In all of the commotion, though, T'Challa is imprisoned by the Collector as his new collected item, and the rest of the Ravengers are locked away in a cell. Nebula comes to the Ravengers' rescue, though, and she breaks the Ravengers out and reveals her and T'Challa's secret triple cross plan. Basically, she knew what was going on all along. Her and T'Challa concocted this plan to get them inside here so they can not only repay this debt to the Collector that she apparently owes, but also steal the embers. T'Challa tries to escape the little showcase box prison that he's in, but he's immediately caught by Ebony Maw of the Black Orders, who are working with the Collector in this particular timeline. But Karina, who you guys might remember from the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, is there, and she saves T'Challa from whatever the fuck Ebony Maw was about to do. Now, in the original timeline, or I guess the timeline that the MCU has been presenting to us, Karina died. She tried to get away from the Collector, and he ended up killing her. So her still being alive in this storyline is pretty dope. And we'll find out why towards the end of the episode. The Collector enters the room, though, and T'Challa ends up fighting him in his attempt to escape. In this scene, which I thought was pretty dope, the Collector reveals a treasure trove of collected weapons that he has. So if you pay attention to the background, when he opens his little weapons case or whatever, you can see in there some weapons from legendary stuff outside of Korak's arm, which he was using like a gauntlet, and that dark matter dagger from the Dark Elves or whatever. You also see Hela's helmet, which he ends up using that to fight T'Challa. But in the weapons case, you also see Thor's hammer. You see Loki's dagger, and you also see Captain America's shield. So apparently in this timeline, either the Collector has taken out these people or found a way to collect these very, very important items to MCU storylines. Back to the fight scene, though. The Collector uses Hela's helmet and her Necro dagger to subdue T'Challa. Meanwhile, the Ravengers are fighting their way out. Thanos references one of his nicknames, the Mad Titan, in this little scene. And I thought that was dope because, Easter egg, callback, whatever. Yondu helps T'Challa escape from the Collector, and Nebula rescues Thanos from the Black Order. After some clever tag team moves in this dope fight scene, everyone gets away, and the Collector is handled by Karina. Now, like I said, this is dope because in the storyline that we've been presented through the MCU, Karina ended up dying or being killed by the Collector. So in this like timeline universe or whatever, she's getting some karma justice right now. But while escaping in the Wakandan ship he found, T'Challa now wants to go back home to Wakanda now that he knows like, oh, it still exists or whatever. Another like Marvel Easter egg there, Cosmo the dog from the Guardians of the Galaxy movie is taken from the Collector by Yondu. So we see him, in the scene as well. T'Challa ends up returning home to Wakanda with the Ravagers at his side, and a big welcome home feast ensues. Okoye and Thanos, though, they having this like interaction, and she also mentions, it's like the 4th time or 5th time this episode somebody done mentioned like, your plan sound like genocide, bruh. And of course Thanos is trying to rationalize it, but just another little comedic moment from the Marvel team. T'Chaka, on the other hand, is still questioning like, how the fuck did my son end up with you, Mr. Yondu? T'Challa covers for him though quickly, and all that's put to rest. From here though, we cut over to Peter Quill, who is supposed to be Star-Lord, the one that we know who was supposed to get abducted. We cut over to him. He working a regular 9 to 5 at Dairy Queen, mopping up the floor, listening to his awesome mixtape Volume 1 that, if you are a Marvel fan, I do at least remember that from the Guardians of the Galaxy, like a whole saga, that awesome mixtape shit, because the music on there was actually pretty good. His father, Ego, who Yondu was trying to kidnap him so they would never meet in the first place, he ends up meeting him, and the episode ends under the presumption that this timeline and world are doomed to be destroyed because Ego is going to use Star-Lord to carry out his plan to remake the entire universe, and that's what Yondu was been working with the Ravagers to try to prevent this entire time. The episode ends here though, and the Watcher comes on, talking in his voice, and then Marvel tries to sucker punch me right in my feels with this dedication to Chadwick Boseman at the very end of the episode. The dedication reads, dedicated to our friend, our inspiration, and our hero. And I'm like, damn, man. Yeah. But good news, because apparently Chadwick will be in future episodes of What If, voicing different versions of T'Challa. So if you like me and you don't mind, hearing more from the late Chadwick Boseman, then stay tuned, because this is upon research. Now, they said that Chadwick will be voicing other versions of T'Challa in future episodes. So stick around, because I'm going to definitely point that out whenever I hear it. That completely ends the episode though. I thought it was dope. Like I said, I did not know much of Star-Lord's story, as well as the other characters dealing with the whole Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. But it was a dope spin on the information that I did know, and it gave me an opportunity to, to like go back, do my Googles, get some, research and some history done on the subject and the different storylines. And I'm like, man, this shit is fire. They did a good job. One more little Easter egg that I want to point out before we get out of here, right? So when I was researching, I didn't catch this, but the Star-Lord ship that you can see flying away from Morag, it's the famous Star-Lord ship that we see in Guardians of the Galaxy and everything. That particular ship is named the Milano, but for this particular storyline, dealing with T'Challa and stuff, they named it the Mandela, which obviously is after Nelson Mandela. And I just appreciate that, because it's dope that Marvel has that level of attention to detail, especially when telling a black story about a black character. I just thought it was dope that they decided to name the ship Mandela, and shout out to black people. But outside of that, man, like I said, dope episode. there were a few more Easter eggs that I came across that I'm choosing not to cover in this review because I want to see if y'all picked up on it. Like, there's a Star Wars reference in there somewhere, or maybe you'll just do your Googles and find it. But whatever the case might be, however you come across these Easter eggs that I didn't mention, please, you know what I'm saying, comment, DM even if you want to. Like, let me know what y'all come across. Wherever I post this and you can hear it, and find me on social media at BRIAN, that's Brian, SAPPH, Saf, on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Let me know how y'all feel about it. I'll catch you on the next one. Episode 3 getting ready to drop pretty soon. I'm late with this review, but who knows what'll happen with the next review. Either way, it's going to be here. So I'll catch y'all when What If episode 3 drops.